me want? Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. So I think everyone has a seat now. So I want to say a warm welcome to this Reels School session. My name is Ulrika Thimmig. I work in the news partnerships team. I'm based in Stockholm, and with me today I have my colleague Dalila.
Hi everyone, it's great to see you. I'm Dalila. I work with news partners in Iberia.
We have an amazing agenda for you here today. It's going to be based up in 3 different sections. So we're first going to give you the basics and why you should create Reels and learn new things. We're then going to move over to some best practice. We're also going to have a creative session and end with an amazing guest that we have for you here today. So who in this room has actually created a Reel and uploaded it to Facebook or Instagram? Oh, a few hands. That's great. I hope after this and in the next few days, 100% in this room will actually have done Reels.
First of all, I can't even braid my hair. You know that 808 got nothing on your drive. You know that 808 got nothing on the drive. So I can wear these. Color, you know who you are. Work it, work it. You can do it like it. Go it, move it, shine a star.
Nothing in this sport is handed to you.
Boom, boom, boom.
As you can see, this is the place to share a video that powers culture and creativity. It's from people, from creators, from media partners and brands. So video is definitely at the core of Meta's and especially Facebook and Instagram's ecosystem, and something that we build on for friends, for families, for creators, individuals, and brands. So we have all these different features, and the question might be like, where, what do I work on? How does this fit in? What should I do? So if we look at feed, it's definitely for your highlights and sharing those big moments that you want to keep there forever. We have stories, and that's for your everyday life and capturing those moments, making people follow you around and see what you're actually doing during the day and bring you along for the ride. We have live. It's an amazing tool. You can be live in real time. You can do a live with, you can do a live Q&A. So it's just this amazing way to reach out to new audiences and new people, and people can really follow you around and see what's happening right here and right now. Video for longer storytelling. You want to tell a longer story, upload something else and share that with your followers. And then we have Reels. So this is a short format. It's entertaining, and it's definitely also a way to follow trends and do great storytelling with it. But the question is, what is actually a Reel? It's 15, 30, or 60-second videos. They're entertaining, and there's trending moments. They're built on Instagram and Facebook with these amazing creative tools that we're going to be seeing in a bit. And also, you can reach new audiences. It has its own space in Explore, so it definitely gets that extra distribution as well. See? Oh, we missed the section. No? Is this you, Dalila? No, we'll skip that. So why should I create Reels? Why should you create Reels? As I mentioned, it's a place to reach new fans. You can grow your community with getting new distribution, showing new things to your followers and to your audience. You can stand out, so stand out with different effects, different AR filters, and different things that you can edit and be creative with your different tools. And then it's easy to make content. With the built-in editing tools, it's really easy for anyone to just create, record, and upload, adding all the different music features and audio and so on that we're going to get into a bit. But I'm going to hand over to Dalila on actually creating reels.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ulrika. Oh, wait. Do I point there?
Yes, it works.
All right, so now that we have learned why it's so important to create reels, let's pass on to how we turn our ideas into creation. So creating is my favorite part, and I'm very excited, and I'm glad to see that many of you have already tried reels. But you know, this is a Reels masterclass, and I'm sure there's must be people who have never created a reel before, so we also have to touch some basics. So to get started, there is a Reels tab, and you can create your first reel from there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Or you can also, while you're watching a reel, you can tap on create a reel, and that's how you're gonna get started. You can also record videos directly from Reels, or you can upload your own videos from your camera roll and on your phone's gallery. So it's very important to know that Reels is a powerful tool where we want you to become as creative as possible, and we offer many creative tools such as audio, which is something that we are going to touch after. Ulrika is going to talk more in detail about that. But it's important that you know that audio is very important and very creative and powerful tool, because we can use audio in our favor to enhance the video, and they are so great when we match the clips with the audio. We also have a lot of filters, we also have a lot of effects, but I don't want to get you bored by me talking about this. These videos show this much better, so I leave you with some creative techniques that I'm sure you're gonna like. So that's the green screen tool. That's very useful because you can pick a picture from our library, or you can upload directly your own, and you can pretend to be anywhere you want. So the text tool works for text and also for subtitles, which is very important because sometimes we're playing video without sound, so it's important that we include those to catch viewers' attention. Last but not least,
There we go.
so as I was saying before, we can upload multiple clips and we can edit them inside our reel section, and we can trim them, adjust the length, speed up the clip, slow it down. So it's very, very useful as well. And now that we have created our reel, it's time to share it with our community. In the sharing section, we are able to include our copy, our caption, we can include hashtags, we can tag people, we can tag our friends. And this is the moment where we're gonna be adding as well a business partner in case we're working with branded content. When we post a reel on Instagram, it's gonna be visible for all our followers, and it's also gonna live in the reel section. So as Ulrika said before, it's a powerful tool to grow organically because we can be discovered by people who aren't following us yet. However, on Facebook, we can customize the audience of our reel. We can choose if we wanna make it public, if we wanna make it just visible for friends, or all friends except some people. So we can exclude some people from our Reels audience. So it's important to consider where our Reel will live and will be visible. I'm having trouble with this. I'm sorry, guys.
She's not switching.
Thank you. Ulrika is much better than the clicker, so we're gonna have Ulrika. So your Reels is gonna appear in your feed. Thank you. Okay. Your Reel will appear in your feed section. It's gonna appear in your friends' feed, and it's also gonna live in the in your Reel section, but you can always hide it if you don't want it to appear in your feed. Can we go to the next slide, please? So now we're gonna be sharing some best practices, but by the end of the session, we're gonna have our Reels queen sharing more best practices so you can be successful on this format. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so the first tip we wanna share with you is to be relatable. What does being relatable means? We have to be very authentic with our content. It's important to create reels and create scenes where people can connect with, people can feel that could be themselves in funny situations. We want to see day-to-day situations, nothing complex, that will help us engage with our community. Also, keep it simple. We want to stay away from the concept that we really need expensive equipment, large cameras. We want to keep it simple and encourage everyone to record just using their phones. We don't need to have like this complex storyboard. If you have an idea, just go ahead and shoot. Trust me, it works. I've done it, and it really, really works. It's also impossible when we keep it simple that we always keep in mind that it has to be easy to recreate, so we inspire creation. The more accessible our content is, the more likely it is to become a trend. And we know that sometimes we get tired of seeing trends, but it's because they work. When people see something they like, they want to do the same. And these are the type of clips or reels that go viral. And this is what's going to ultimately help you grow your audience. And it's also important to create culture and use hashtags. And I'm going to tell you a short story here. Like, I recently become obsessed about film photography, and I love it so much. And you know that now you can follow hashtags. You can follow both people and hashtags. So I decided to take a chance and start following the hashtag of the camera that I use and some film rolls that I wanted to try. And it was a game changer. I started to discover amazing photographer. I got very inspired by great content. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was a bit skeptical in the beginning with hashtags. But don't tell anyone about this, okay? But I decided to give it a try and start posting using hashtags for my niche or for cultural trends. And I started to get discovered by so many people, and a lot of people started appreciating my work. And that was amazing because it's very rewarding to see that new people discover, new people like what you're doing. And if you check your stats, or at least in my case, when I was checking insights, most of the views that I was getting from my reels were coming from the hashtag. So they are very, very powerful. So I encourage you to try that if you haven't done so. Because I got discovered by many new people, and my account grew a lot. Next, please. Oh, now it works. Amazing. Thank you. So another tips for you to be successful on Reels are that it's better to use original videos designed for all platforms. what I'm trying to say here is that we always like recycling content, taking content that we have posted in other platforms, which is fine, but it's important that you take into consideration that if your content includes watermarks, your reel won't be able to be featured. And being featured is amazing because your content goes viral and this helps you a lot with your goals. If you use music, it's always important that we own the rights of those music clips. We have a large, immense music library, so always make sure to use that because if not, your video won't be featured as well. And Reels videos need to be entertaining, and they also need to be fun, but most importantly, on top of everything, they need to be safe. And by safe, we mean that they need to follow our community standards, and I will never get tired of emphasizing this. Our community standards rule our world. So you can have the best content in the world. It can be successful outside our platforms, but if they are not following our guidelines, that content cannot be in the platform and there can be some issues with your page. So always keep in mind when you are creating and when you have an idea to always follow our guidelines. And if you don't know what our community standards are, just reach out to us. We are happy to share that with you. It's our Bible. So Reels have to grab attention and quickly. We know it's very important to know how to shoot, how to edit, but knowing how to shoot and edit for social is just as important. What I'm trying to say here is that what we were saying before with Ulrika, this is a very powerful tool to grow your audience because it's the only format that we offer nowadays where your content is being shared to more people than just your follower base. This means our content is competing with many other videos with great visuals, people with great talent. So we want to be special. We want to be different. And for that, it's very important that we catch attention quickly with stunning clips. And when I say stunning, I don't mean complex or with high quality. I just mean that you're telling something interesting, that the people are going to like that content. They want to watch it again and again and again. And potentially, they will follow your account. So keep this in mind when you are creating your next reel. Now we're going to talk about music.
Thank you, Dalila. So Dalila mentioned that music and audio is something that's very important to your reel. So we're going to touch a bit on that. And I would almost like to say that it's core for reels. Making music, using audio, and all the different features that we have. So I'm going to walk you through the different things that you actually can use around music and audio. There we go.
You got something that makes me lose my mind. You got something to make me lose my mind.
So it's really easy just to browse for music in the music library that you can have on the little sound icon when you create a reel. Either if you choose a specific song you're looking for, maybe you're looking for a song from an album, you can search for that album. And you can also find something that fits the mood, fits the genre, fits the theme of your reel that you have uploaded. Really not friends with this clicker today. There we go. So you can use original audio. That means that you're uploading the audio that is connected to your own video or your own sound, or if you want to upload your own audio as well. Using this is actually a great way to get discovered. So if you use that, then maybe others want to try out your audio as well that you have and do different things, and it's connected to your profile. So how anyone sees it or clicks on it, they will always end up at your profile. So it's just a great way to get some attention, get some public attention as well when you create your reels. So two other music and audio tools that I really want to highlight is the voiceover. So this is a great way if you have a video, but then you maybe want to add your own voiceover to it. So if you've been out recording something and then want to tell the story behind it, I really recommend the voiceover. We also have the audio mixer, and this is also where you can add both your voiceover as well as the music that you've selected in the music library on Reels tab. So you can just like switch between how high do you want the music or how high do you want your voiceover to be, and then shift between these to make really nice, easy effects there as well. So maybe like some background music, and then you add your voiceover to it. You can also have saved audios. So if you're scrolling on Reels or anything else and you find a sound that you want to save, you can actually save this to your profile and then use it later for your Reels. So if you're saving something for like a special moment, or you just feel like, oh, this sound will really fit in with when I create this type of Reel or this type of content, and then you can actually use it and save it in your saved library as well. So that's also a really nice tool to use. Now that we've touched on some of the basics and some of the really good ideas that you're like have to get started on Reels, like using different features, and Dalila touched on the different touch points as well, we've chosen some examples, some best practice, some inspiration for you that we want to share with you today. So we're going to show you what some other people are actually doing around Reels. So this is an example from Brut. It's the French digital publisher. They have a huge following. They also do some accounts in different languages. So they have a Spanish account. So this is from the Spanish account in this case. Since they started uploading Reels, they have their most viewed Reel with almost 3 million views on it and more than 100K likes. So that's a lot of traction that they've got from these Reels. It contains live moments, moments that people want to see, that they've collected over different things. And this specific example is from the explosion in Beirut and what they did as a Reel around it. So even if Reels can be fun and trending moments, it can definitely be very newsworthy as well and have these news highlights and ways of doing it. It's curated news, and you can add different clips. If you don't have like a full long clip, it's a great way just to like cut many of them together using these features. And we have Frida, that is our Italian example. The same thing here. They also have different pages and different accounts and so on. And they're a digital publisher. They focus a lot on women, diversity, fashion, different important topics that we have out in the world as well. They have their most viewed Reel that has over 1 million views and more than 65,000 likes as well. So they also do important topics, but in quite like fun, easy, trendy Reels ways. So when I show you this example, you're going to see why. So they're using different transitions. They're adding the text colorful, like it's quite quick, but they also want to send a message across at the same time. So Dalila, I have some examples that you will touch on.
Thank you. So this is the example from Yes.es. This is a Spanish page as well, Digipub, and this is a page that has launched recently, but they have grown so fast for how long they started. Like, what they're starting to do is to use throwbacks and use iconic, funny moments from the story of Spain, and just use videos they have on their archive and start reposting them in the Reels format. And this helped them grow so fast. So this is something that they posted that got almost 8,000K views, and it got more than 10K likes.
Like the Atlantic and I'm going down. Like the Titanic, eyes blue. Like the Atlantic and I'm going down.
Thank you. So this is an account from a famous photographer that I personally love and follow. And I think this type of content is amazing, and we really should think about this, because sometimes we see, these reels that are amazing, and we are like, how on earth this person created this? But this type of reel is great because it's not only amazing visually, but it's also informative and educational. It shows us the backstage of the scene, and it also shares us how to create it ourselves and how easy it is just by using our phones. So this account is very inspirational, and that's the reason why he grew so fast. So this photographer, Jordi from Barcelona, posted 31 reels since launch, and it's keep growing because he's sharing how he creates his work. So I really encourage you to think about this backstage thing where you show how your work is done. You don't need to be a photographer. You can show the backstage of the type of work that you do. And normally your audience wants to know more about you and what's behind that person. So these type of accounts perform really well. That's why we decided to include this nice example. Thank you. All right, so we have covered the theory part, and we also gave you some inspiration, but we're also gonna leave you with some tips and tricks of creativity, because we think there's some very important concepts that is important that you know for the next time that you go out and start shooting. Next. Thank you. So these are the basics. If you are wondering where should I invest to upgrade the quality of my reels, I would say on these three things. An external mic, the quality of the audio is gonna be much better, and they aren't expensive. Also a tripod, stabilization is key. It makes the total change. And lighting, sometimes we underestimate the power of light, but it can create such a big difference. So let me try so you're not. Yeah, thank you. So the lights. How do we work with light? The main light source should be projected towards the subject. So imagine I'm here, the camera is there, and the light should be behind the camera. So I can be facing either a window or a ring light. So that's how it should be. And also the camera lens should be straight in direction to the subject. When it comes to sound, this can sound basic, but please let's try to avoid noisy areas. Use external mic if possible. There's external mics that are very small. You can't even tell you're using one. And stabilize. Stabilization is key. You can see the same clip, stabilized and non-stabilized, and it's such a big change. And it's also important that once you have your setup ready, you have your camera, light is facing the subject, you have your mic, you're in a great area with not a lot of noise, you have your stabilization, or you're planning to stabilize your shot in post-production, which is also valid. Now it's time to prepare your mind for the shooting moment. So we have 4 concepts. The composition, when we have to fill the frame, and we are gonna introduce the concept of the rule of thirds. We have to think about the variety, and this is where we are going to talk about the B-roll concept. We also have sequences, because we're telling a story, even if it's very simple, and if it lasts 5 seconds or 1 minute, we are saying something. So it's important to know what's the message we want to address. And the cuts. Here, more is more. So the more you shoot, the more flexible you're going to be when you're editing or in post-production. So it's important that when in doubt, keep shooting. Next slide. Thank you. So the rule of thirds. I'm sure there is great photographers in these rooms, or at least people that know how to use a camera. How many of you know the concept of rule of thirds? Ooh. All right, that's great. I'm glad I don't have to speak so much. But for those who haven't, I'm gonna tell you what is it about. So the rule of thirds is a concept that is very used in the art world, in painting, photography, the film industry. It's a composition rule on where we place the object to make the image or the clip more interesting, more appealing to the person who's viewing the picture or the clip. And it consists in breaking down the image in thirds, horizontally and vertically. So whenever these intersections meet in these key points, it's where we want to place the key elements, either if it's a person talking to the camera, or if it's a subject, or wherever we are trying to highlight on our clip, we're going to place it there. So we have two examples here. There is a person in this horizontal image, and there's the Statue of Liberty in the vertical one. And you can see how sometimes we are tempted to put it in the middle, but this rule, we can always break rules, you know, it's not mandatory. But if I was to give you good advice, is always try to follow this rule, because somehow the image turns to be more appealing. So when you are shooting something, or you're gonna speak into a camera, try to put the object in the intersections. So as we are suggesting that we all use our cameras, you can turn the grid on your phone, so it helps you. Next slide. So now we have another concept, which is the B-roll, which is probably one of my favorites. Like, once I learned from this, I feel I was able to upgrade my videos very fast, because it's a simple concept that sometimes we are not very aware of. So I want to ask you now, how many of you have ever heard about the B-roll concept? Oh, that's great. Not so many as the rule of third, but I'm glad that all of you are going to leave this room knowing this amazing concept. So the B-roll is alternative or supplemental footage that complements the main shoot, which is the A-roll. So the A-roll, imagine I'm going to be speaking to the camera, and someone is making my video, or in this case, this guy is on a job interview. That's the A-roll, the main character. But if we want to use alternative footage, that's going to be the B-roll, which helps enhance the scene, set the tone, bring more emotion. It helps the viewer get more information about what's happening. So that's the difference between having a regular video or a better video with more information, where the viewer feels they are almost part of the scene. So I'm going to give you a quick example. Do you know when sometimes we're on vacation, traveling, and we keep making videos like panoramic 1, panoramic 2, panoramic 3, then we put them together, and that's a cool video, right? But we want to make great videos. So we can just have a little more clips to make it more interesting. So imagine next time I go on vacation, and there's this amazing beach, and I make a video, but then I also shoot me walking. I also make a focus on a palm tree. So between those clips, I add extra information, and that's when the video is gonna be more interesting. You know, sometimes you watch a video and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I love how I can kind of feel on that scene. And that's when great filmmakers introduce this concept. So another example is the second one, where we are seeing, probably it's not very clear on this image because, sorry, it turned out very small, but it's a subject speaking to the camera. So that's the A-roll, and the sound is going to be on. The person is speaking to the camera. But that's the timeline, and this shows us that on top, we are adding a landscape. So imagine the person is going to be talking, and then we're going to see the scene where the person is walking, but the voice is going to still be there. So that's the idea, that we can use different type of framings just to enhance the image and make our film more appealing. Next slide, please.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you some example of the B-roll concept. It can be establishing shoots where I start showing where I am. For example, if I was about to make a reel of these real schools, my first introductory shot would be me showing you, for example. There is an audience. Then inserts, which are a way of interrupting the narrative to give more information to the user. It can be a close-up of me speaking to the mic or the computer to show that there is a mic, there is a computer, the subject is doing an action. And it doesn't need to be something that I record. It can be a stock image, like an aerial shoot. It can be a person. I mean, not in the example of this real school, but imagine I went on vacation and I went to this amazing beach and I don't have a drone. I can completely get a drone image from a crazy beach and just put it on my clip to make it more complete. So the creative tips are overshoot, as I said before. More is more. Always get some, because sometimes I find myself that I make videos and when I'm back, I'm like, I should have also recorded that. I forgot that. The more we have, the easier it is in post-production. Shoot at various focus lengths. When I say various focus lengths, I mean, remember, can we go to the previous slide? You know the A-roll and B-roll there? So the A-roll is the subject. We want to see his facial expressions. But at the same time, we want to get more context of where he is. So he's probably at a job interview or at a meeting. So that's the same kind of clip, but from a different perspective and with another focal length. This is a large shoot. So here we see he's on a table, he's talking to someone, he's in a work environment situation. So it's important that we give more information by using different focal length. Focal length is a very powerful tool when it comes to creating videos. Next slide. One sec, because the other one is to shoot in high frame rates. When we shoot in high frame rates, we have the ability to then use slow motion, for example.
Yeah, you keep pressing it off.
Oh, sorry. So anything we shoot, this is also on our iPhone. If we shoot with more than 60 frames per second, we can get amazing slow motion. So I encourage you to try shooting at 60 frames per second, 120, 240, maybe it's too much unless we want this very, very small waterfall falling. But try shooting both in 24 or 30 frames per second and 60 to try this effect. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah. So this is something I made yesterday. It's not the best video you will ever see in your life, but I wanted to show how easy it is in a random situation to use the BRoll concept. So the meta logo was the introductory shot where I'm setting the scene, showing where I am. My main character is Andy, a colleague of us. Then another BRoll is he typing, so we are showing some part of the scenes. And then I'm going back to my A-roll, which is Andy laughing. Can we replay the video so that... Stars shining bright above you. Breezes seem to whisper. Short and sweet. Exactly. And well, last but not least, transitions. Transitions is when we jump from one clip to another, and the way we make these transitions can make the scene or break the scene. So it's very important that we consider transitions on our workflow. So I want to give you some ideas of some transitions that we can easily create. One is the standard cut, which is a clip over clip, no special effect, but it's powerful, and I don't like when we abuse with transitions. Standard cuts are great, so this is something that I wanted to highlight because I like standard cuts, but sometimes when we want to add an extra condiment to our recipe, maybe we can add some cool transitions. For example, the object block. This means that I'm going to block the frame completely, and then I'm going to start revealing the frame, for example. I'm gonna have my first clip, and I'm gonna finish it behind the tree, for example. So it goes to black. And then on the next one, I'm gonna put my hand here, another object, and I'm gonna reveal. So when I edit that, I make sure both blacks are together. So it's gonna create a cool effect of a transition that it's easy to create directly on our Reels editing tool. It can be a tree, it can be your hand, it can be a hat, it can be wherever. You can get as creative as you want here. We also have the movement on camera transition, which is kind of nice to do. And it's when we are shooting and we finish our clip by moving the camera. And then the next clip, we're going to start moving to the same direction. And we're going to edit them together. And we're going to cut in the middle of the movement. So I'm going from one scene to another. And it seems like we are in the same place, but we changed from one clip to another. It works to the right, to the left, up, down, but it's important that from one clip to another, we follow the same direction. And we decided to include that nice video with some examples of easy transitions.
Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Ow, 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 show them girl, yeah, boom, boom, bow, bow.
All right. So this girl is great, but I'm glad that we have in the audience someone that is greater, which is Karina, a creator that we decided to invite because her content is great, and we wanted to have her sharing some of her best practices and sharing her knowledge, tips and tricks to inspire you. So welcome, Karina.
Thank you.
So welcome, Karina. We're super happy to have you here today and that you also wanted to share your best tips and tricks so the audience can actually hear from someone that really works with this and really does put time and ideas into what you do. So I'm going to start by playing your favorite reel that you shared with us, and then we can also give some background on it. So this is your Emily in Paris. If anyone saw that Netflix show, it's inspired by it. And you did a bunch of transitions with change of outfits. So it really covers many of the tips that we've been talking about here today. So I want to give the audience a bit of a background about you. So you started your career as a news curator for the German business network Zing. And last year in 2021, you finished your master's degree in digital journalism, so huge congrats to that. You also shifted focus to the social media team at Zing and now work and do all their social media across different platforms. And on your own accounts, on your personal accounts, you've created a bunch of reels. You focus on fashion and lifestyle as well. So our first question to you today, we would love to hear from your perspective, how does the process actually work? So from that you have the idea, that creative idea, the thinking of it, to actually shooting, editing, and finally posting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So the first step about me posting a reel is always the part you don't see, basically. Like, it's the inspiration. Like, for example, with this one, my Instagram feed, my Reels tab was full of Emily in Paris content because Netflix just launched the second season. And so I do spend a lot of time on Instagram, not just for fun, but also, you know, to get inspired and to see what other creators do, what trends they use, what sound they use. Another part would also be, you know, after being like small creator for like over a year, I do have some specific formats established already where I know, okay, they work, and then that's my inspiration. You know, when I don't find anything that I'm like, okay, this is what I want to hop on. And I also follow the creators account on Instagram. You should also do that as well, if you're interested in Reels, because they do post regularly a Reels trends report where they tell you, okay, this is what creators do, these are the trends that are viral right now, this is how to do the trend, and they also add trending sound. So that's really beneficial. Then from the process, if I have all my ideas sorted out, I kind of go into my content planning. This is mostly done on the weekends because I work, like a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And then I always try to post like a general post, like a picture, and then the next day a reel, and so on and so forth. And once the plan is done and I know what to do, then I go into the recording. And here I basically work with the basic tools that Dalila already mentioned. I have an iPhone 11 Pro, that's like not the newest model. I have an external mic if needed, and I have a ring light. So that's like, it's easy. I don't have the fancy stuff. And then I just go into the recording, and for example, scenes like that, I do overshoot as well. Like, I did this movement at the beginning, like maybe 10 times to, find one scene where I was like, okay, like my face looks correct, like the movement is correct, like I stand nice, and then I kind of add the clips onto each other and then go into the editing. But also when I don't feel like, taking a video, because it does take a little bit of time, I go back into my camera roll and see, because I always do live photos, and you can select multiple live photos and put them into a video. So, I already have the content, and then it's just easier, and the video is done in a few seconds. Or sometimes on Reels, you can also just do like a little slideshow, like work with what you already have to make it, like not too long in the time process. And then going into the editing, here I basically just, cut the clips together, make sure they match. When I have a transition, I try to make the transition look great, like not, like when I cover the camera, not too long covered, so it's like quick and people want to watch it. And this is mostly done in my editing app, but I also do it on IG Reels sometimes. And here in this process, I also look, for fitting thumbnail, and then I, put a filter on it, so my thumbnail picture also, works with my IG profile grid. Yes, and then I think the content is done, and then it just goes to posting. And me personally, when we talk about captions, I try to make it really short, like, because I don't believe, like, when people, consume Reels, they want to read like a long caption. So I try to do like a little one-liner, like max of like 150 characters. If I can think of a good question in the caption to ask, then I add that here, and then I just add like around 5 hashtags, and then I post it.
Perfect. So I think you touched on a couple of things there that I just want to highlight. So you said following trends, so like you did this one, it was trendy, it was something new, something really going on. You also mentioned like using clips you already have. I think that's a great note for like archive. What do we have? What can we actually like reuse and just cut and edit in different ways? And then of course, like you can always cross-post your Reels across like both Facebook and Instagram as well. So Dalila.
Well, thank you so much, Karina, for sharing all these insights with us. But we want to know, what are your top tips or tricks you want to share with other people who are intending to start creating Reels or improve their actual Reels?
Yeah, I think I touched on some already when, describing the process. So, bear with me if I repeat myself. So first of all, try to take time to get inspired on Instagram. Look what is in your niche, what are the sounds, what are the trends, what are other brands doing that you could hop on. And I think also, Dalila, you said that hop on trends even though you've seen them multiple times. Like it doesn't wash out that quickly. It's not like, oh, what could I do? Like, what could I do special? Like, you are special. You are the special part into that. So do the trends. Also, show your face. Try to show your face, or try to show faces to make it, more authentic, to give your brand a face, and to, like create that closeness to your audience. And if you show your face, face a source of light. You know, it can be a window, it can be a ring light. And then also, what I always try to do is like on my private Instagram account, but also in my professional life, I try to ask questions, you know, like you can add them at the end of a reel, for example, you can add them in the caption, you can, you know, try what works best for you. And once you get comments, also, you know, respond to the comment, maybe also with the question, you know, have a conversation in your comment section, even, you know, thinking about our news creators, maybe even if you get critique, if somebody is challenging your facts, if somebody is challenging your story, maybe the first question could be, where did you get that information from? You know, like have a conversation about that in the comment section, because then people have a reason to return to your reels. And if you scale that, that's good for your views. Also, I think I already touched that. If you don't want to take a video, try working with what you already have in your archive, in your camera roll, and do not delete a reel. It happened very often that, you know, I'm posting something, it gets 300 views. A few hours later, I'm like, you know, it didn't work. Like, people didn't like it. 24 hours later, next day, I get 3,000 views on that same content. So it's like, you know, like sometimes it just kind of catches up, and like there's the reach that you were going for, yes. And also, like one more thing, you already touched that as well, like try to create attention in the beginning, but also if you have like a 1-minute reel or something, try to always give people, you know, like a little bit more, like something that creates attention throughout, because like people are right now really used to, you know, watching short videos. But if you have a great story that you want to tell in 1 minute, then, you know, try to do like little cuts, to add text, you know, to generate like something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, and we would love to keep asking you more questions. Like, I love having you here, but unfortunately, our session has come to an end, and as you know, we are not able to take Q&A, but we want to answer all your questions. So we have left here a QR code. If you want to follow up, you want to ask some questions, we're going to make sure we can address all of them. And we want to thank Karina so much for her participation. Thank you so much, and thank all of you
Yes,
for
thank you.
having participated. It's been amazing. They're very happy. We hope to see all your reels.
Thank you.